Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chad Quilley. In just a moment, we're going to get started talking about the tropics, specifically Invest 97L that has formed today near the Dominican Republic and Haiti. And there's a lot we don't know about the system, but we're starting to gain a little bit more knowledge about what its eventual path may be. The strength is still in question. So we have some folks jumping on, and I'll wait probably just another couple of minutes, and then I'll get going. And our plan here is to first go over some of the basic information that pertains to Invest 97L, which is essentially a tropical wave that we're watching. We'll go over what we know about it right now, what we think is going to happen over the next 48 hours, and then some of the questions that surround what's going to happen after that as we head into the weekend and early next week, specifically pertaining to us here in the Wiregrass and any potential impacts that we may feel from it down the road. So we'll go through that for a bit, and then we'll probably pause and I'll take some questions that I'm seeing on Facebook. So we'll do that shortly, and then I'll go back over the information once more. So I think we have enough folks who have joined now. We will go ahead and officially get started. It is just about 8:20 here on a Thursday evening, and we are tracking the tropics. Invest 97L has formed today. It is a tropical wave near Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and there's a lot we don't know about the system, but we are getting some more information tonight. So we'll go ahead and take you right over to our weather graphics right now, and you can see Invest 97L, that tropical wave, and a couple of key features that I want to point out to you as we're looking at this. Number one, it's not all that organized. You don't see a really well-defined area of low pressure or center of circulation with it, but you can start to see some broad counterclockwise motion near the center of the storm. And so that is indicative that, number one, there is at least some organization that's trying to take place. We're trying to get that low pressure system going. And once we have the low pressure system, from that point forward, we're actually going to get more information about what may happen with this tropical wave 97L. That's going to take some time. Normally, the way this works is as soon as we get a closed low pressure system and a tropical depression, our computer models start running a little bit better. We get a better idea of how all this is going to take place, but we're not quite there yet. So there's still some uncertainties to all this and how it's going to play out. We know a little bit more today than we did yesterday, and tomorrow we're going to know a little bit more than we did today. So there it is. You can see Invest 97L, a tropical wave spinning around Haiti, the Dominican Republic. It's moving towards Cuba. The other interesting thing here is you look at the satellite is not only do we not have that really well-defined low pressure system yet, but as the system's trying to gain strength and as it's trying to form, it is moving over land. And tropical systems, whether it be a hurricane, a tropical storm, or a tropical depression, or just a plain old tropical wave like we're dealing with here, they don't like land. And so land tends to tear them apart. It causes additional shear for storms. So you're noticing this tropical wave, we're calling it Invest 97L. It's trying to get better organized, but right now, because it's over land, it's kind of getting torn apart, and we're not seeing a really well-defined closed low pressure system with it. With all of that being said, I'm going to show you the latest information from the National Hurricane Center. This updated about 8 o'clock this evening or so. And over the next 2 days, the National Hurricane Center is saying that there is a low chance of development, only about 30% within the next 48 hours. That's because our tropical wave, our Invest, is going to be traveling over a lot of land, a lot of mountainous terrain near Hispaniola and Cuba, and that's just not very conducive to tropical storm development. So over the next 48 hours, the chance of formation is low. Although, as we head beyond that into the next week or so, more so this weekend and early next week, there is a 70% chance of development into at least a tropical depression. That is considered high by the National Hurricane Center, and they think that tropical depression may form anywhere in that red shaded area. So that red shaded area that you're seeing isn't necessarily the track of where the depression will go, but it's more so telling us by the National Hurricane Center, they're relaying, they think that if we get a tropical depression, which we probably will, it's going to form somewhere in that red area over the next several days and into early next week. So you see the little graphic on the left. It says what to know and what do we know. So number one, there's a high level of uncertainty, and we're going to talk more about that in a second. We do know that we are expecting a Gulf storm of some sort. probably a tropical depression or a tropical storm. With that being said, because there's a high level of uncertainty as to exactly where this may go, now is an excellent time to review your hurricane prep plans. And for us here in the Wiregrass, we don't have to worry about storm surge. So that's great news, because one of the biggest killers from hurricanes and tropical systems is storm surge. That's salt water moving over dry land. And so we don't have to worry about that. Storm surge doesn't make it this far north. We do when it comes to tropical systems, and this is just broadly speaking, not necessarily pertaining to our Invest tropical wave, but when it comes to tropical systems, we more so get concerned about the potential of freshwater flooding, high winds, power outages, and tornadoes. So that's when we deal with our tropical systems here in the Wiregrass, those are kind of the key hazards that we face. Not saying that we're going to see all of that with this system, but it's good to speak about when we say review your hurricane prep, what kind of hazards that we typically face around here. In a worst case scenario, now I'm speaking specifically to our tropical wave, in a worst case scenario, conditions here in the Wiregrass may deteriorate as early as Sunday. So that is an absolute worst case scenario. I would probably say that that is 20% chance or less happening, but we can't write it off just yet. And we're concerned about, number one, any additional time that this system may spend over the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico. So we say that because look at the sea surface temperatures, upper 80s, low 90s at the surface of the water. So that's extremely warm. We're going to start talking track and more specifics about the system in just a second, but to kind of broad brush it, the more time that this system spends over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, the stronger it will get. Also for us, the farther west that it tracks, the more impacts that we're going to feel. You're looking at the tropical models, and there's a lot of them. We call these spaghetti models. And we've just moments ago had a new run come in with these spaghetti models. And what you're seeing as I'm analyzing it with you is actually good news. You're seeing a lot of consensus, which means these computer models are thinking alike, that whatever forms is likely going to stay east of us near the Florida Big Bend and potentially impacting parts of the peninsula and the southeast coast of Georgia. So this is what most of our computer models are thinking. That's why I said a moment ago, the chances of us feeling direct impacts here in the Wiregrass are low, just not completely zero. So there's your spaghetti models, as we sometimes call them, the computer models. Now, showing more consensus as to where our tropical wave may go. They're bunched together. That means they're in better agreement that likely this is going to stay to the east of the Wiregrass. Let me show you the difference between what we saw earlier today with our spaghetti models, if I can, and what we're seeing now. Earlier in the day today, there was a big difference. Our spaghetti models were much further to the west, more so into the Panhandle area. Now, this evening, they're shifting east, which is great news for us, and also they're a little bit more in agreement than they were earlier today. So that's kind of just the basics of any possible tracks, what we know about the system, and its chances of development. Now I want to take you through the scenarios of what could happen and why. I want to put some context to this as to why it may happen. So this is possibility number one. And I will say, the further we go into this evening, the more confidence that I have that this may not occur. I cannot write it off just yet. I would put it at a 20% chance of occurring. This is scenario number one. I'll remind you, what you're looking at is not a forecast. This is just a scenario, and it's putting context into some of the maps that I showed you earlier on. So here comes scenario number one. As we go through time into Friday and Saturday, we notice the system has a really difficult time forming over the higher terrain of Hispaniola and Cuba. It kind of tears it apart, just like what's happening right now. Although, look at what happens by early Sunday morning. It spends a little time over the Gulf of Mexico, and then it intensifies to what appears to be a low-end tropical storm. Now, the track in this particular scenario takes it right over Central Florida and then emerges it back into the Atlantic. The reason we think this could occur is because we're getting more confidence in a trough of low pressure, an area of low pressure that may come down from the Great Lakes and essentially, notice the counterclockwise spin, shove this system right back out to sea. So that's scenario number one, and it is the most likely scenario. 80% chance it's going to happen now. Scenario number two, and again, I'm going to caution you, what you're seeing is not a forecast, it is a possibility, is one that may not be quite as friendly to the wiregrass. This is that 20% chance of what could happen. So I'm going to put this into motion. Notice a similar story. What is likely going to be a tropical depression struggles to form over the higher terrain of Cuba, Hispaniola, over the next couple of days and into Saturday. Then it emerges into the Gulf of Mexico. Our steering currents with this one would be an area of high pressure out over the Atlantic, another area of high pressure over the southern plains. And so what that does is it creates the steering current that, number one, takes the system directly north once it emerges off the coast of Cuba. It also would limit the forward motion of the system. So essentially, it's spending more time over the Gulf of Mexico in this scenario number two, that 20% chance. So spends more time over the Gulf of Mexico, better opportunities for the storm to strengthen into what we're looking at would be Tropical Storm Debbie. Very little forward motion with this. So we're talking Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. In this worst case scenario, it would have a really difficult time moving quickly at all. This would spell days of rain across the Panhandle and likely into the Wiregrass as well in this particular setup. You can see even our computer model here suggests that by Wednesday into Thursday, in this 20% chance worst case scenario, we are still dealing with this storm in one capacity or another. Again, not a forecast, 20% chance it's going to happen, 80% chance we feel little to no impacts. And again, I'm saying that just off of what I've observed in the past couple of hours with how the computer models are going. Regardless, we're looking here at tropical development probabilities, and this is exclusive to us here at WDHN. You could see the environment across the Gulf of Mexico is very favorable for tropical development. So that's why I say the longer this storm spends over the Gulf of Mexico, the worse that it would become. And again, getting into that tropical storm, maybe even low-end hurricane status. So what are the possible impacts here in the Wiregrass? If we were to see a scenario like I just showed you, that 20% chance worst case scenario, we get two high pressure systems, very little forward movement, it would be heavy rain, some strong wind gusts, some flooding would be possible, and we can't rule out scattered power outages either in that case. And I think it is worth at least, keeping this sort of worst case scenario on our radar, not because I think it's going to happen, necessarily, but because we've experienced this before with these systems where they make really erratic movements. We'll have guidance from a computer model or several that think it's going to go one way, and then all of a sudden it's going the next. We've seen the flip-flop over the past 24 to 48 hours. We can't rule out that flip-flop again. So that's all I know about this system. And so now I want to go ahead and go in here. I know we probably have quite a few questions, and I'm going to try to get to as many of them as I can. So I'm just going to start diving into some of these. There's a question about a flight delay and the possibility of that occurring this weekend in Miami. I would think the probability of that happening is pretty low. It looks like the part of Florida that's going to be affected by this system is going to be the west coast of the Florida Peninsula and into the Big Bend. Also, another question here about let's see. Here in the Wiregrass, what sort of wind speeds would we be dealing with in Dothan? I think it depends, number one, on the track, that most likely track that I showed you just a moment ago, and that's this one. I'll get back over to it here. So the most likely track, which is here, takes the system, pushes it near Tampa Bay, and then back out to sea, we would feel almost no impacts here in the Wiregrass. We would have some breezy northeast winds at maybe 15 to 20 miles per hour and some high clouds, and that would be about it in this possibility number 1, which is most likely, I'm giving it an 80% chance that this is going to be the scenario that we're dealing with. You know, it is interesting tracking some of these tropical systems because they really do have kind of a tendency for erratic movements. Sometimes it's really difficult to tell where they're going to go. A lot of our computer models try to latch onto one thing and then another thing happens, and that's kind of what we've seen over the past 48 hours. But if this is any kind of, you know, practice lesson for us, if you will, it'll be a close call, that's for sure. But even if nothing happens for us here in the Wiregrass, it's better to go over those hurricane safety plans now than rather be dealing with a situation either this weekend or in another time when we're dealing with another tropical system and being completely unprepared. You know, it's better to be safe rather than sorry in this type of situation. And, you know, again, you look at the National Hurricane Center area that they're kind of designating here as to where we could get this depression to form over the next several days. And I'll zoom in tighter. It still has, you know, even with the evening model runs, it still has Destin, Panama City, you know, up to the Big Bend of Florida at play here. And we've seen this shift from east to west over the past 48 hours. You know, this looked a lot different yesterday. It covered Jacksonville, the east coast of the Florida Peninsula, into the low country here of Georgia, and into the Carolinas as well. Now we've seen this wiggle wobble with the models going, you know, first yesterday, you know, passing through the east coast of Florida. Then all of a sudden we got this big shift in the models, and they were pointing at the possibility of the system really impacting the west coast of the Florida Panhandle into the southern coast of Alabama and Mississippi. And now the models are kind of sort of rethinking and starting to turn right, turn east again. The more so east that we're seeing with the trends, the better news for the Wiregrass. And I want to talk for a second just about model comparison. And again, I'm cautioning you, what you're seeing here is not a forecast. But when we talk about model comparison, what we look at sort of behind the scenes is I'm showing you the most recent run, and I know we're getting a little technical here, of the GFS model. It's called the Global Forecast Model. It's one of the several that we use. Sometimes this can be, you know, pretty well when it comes to hurricanes and do a good job. And so that's why, you know, I'm using it here and when I'm showing you those different cases and what may happen. But what you're looking at is the most recent run from the Global Forecast Model, and that is our 18Z run that came in this evening. And so you can see, okay, you know, with the system, it tries to get going as it passes north of Cuba. It doesn't spend much time over the Gulf. It moves near Tampa as a weak tropical system and then right back out over the Gulf the Atlantic by Tuesday. So that's the most recent run we have. I'm going to show you the run before that. So this is the run before. This was our 12Z run from this morning. A little bit further north and a little further west. That was this morning. Here was also earlier this morning, again, a stronger storm spending more time over the Gulf. It would be a Big Bend issue. And then late last night's model run was depicting that kind of worst case scenario for us here in the Wiregrass, with that system moving onshore and kind of stalling out. So in meteorology and weather, there's a saying, the trend is your friend. And so as we look at the trend is, again, between what we saw late last night and then early this morning, there's that shift by several hundred miles to the east again. So that's the way things are going. The big question mark is, will it shift further west again over the next, 24 to 48 hours? And the answer to that is we don't know. But you know, it's possible. It can't be ruled out, and that's why we're treating this as a big weather story, because if we discount that possibility entirely, then we're going to be in a bad situation come a couple of days if we write this off that it's not going to impact us. We've seen the wiggle wobble with the models. We know it can happen. Our best guidance tonight suggests that, yes, this is going to stay east of us, but tomorrow that same piece of guidance could trend further west again, just depending on what happens with that first scenario with the low pressure system coming up the Great Lakes, or the second scenario with two high pressure systems building in over the Atlantic, another one building in over the Central Plains. Amanda wants to know, what day would this be impacting and affecting us here in Dothan? If we were to have a situation where we were being impacted by this system, and we can look at this here with kind of our scenario number 2, that 20% chance, it looks like the weather would start to deteriorate sometime late Sunday night and into Monday. That would be, again, a worst case scenario, but if things were to play out that way here in Dothan, conditions would start deteriorating as early as Sunday night. Renee wants to know about the possibility of tornadoes, and so with all tropical systems there comes a risk of severe weather and tornadoes, especially as they start to move on land. I think with this one, the tornado threat is actually going to be fairly low. Let me explain why. So when we look at hurricanes, we kind of break them up, if you will, into 4 quadrants. And so, if you were to draw a line straight through this system, you would have the northeast quadrant, the southeast quadrant, the southwest quadrant, and the northwest quadrant. And all of them have different weather. The northeast quadrant, we sometimes call the dirty side of a hurricane. It is where the absolute worst weather is. It's where you have really strong winds, and you often have tornadoes in that northeast quadrant. The northwest quadrant, and actually this makes sense as you're looking at this in this scenario number 2, remember 20% chance of it happening. In this scenario, you can see the northeast quadrant is near Tallahassee. The northwest quadrant would be near Destin, and that's where we call it the clean side of a hurricane. You're still feeling the impacts, but they're just not quite as strong as the northeast quadrant of a hurricane or a tropical system. In that northwest quadrant, typically you don't get the tornadoes. Either way this plays out for us, in scenario number 1 or 2 that I've been telling you about, we stay on the northwest quadrant, which of course still can bring some really significant impacts, but it does lower that tornado threat by just a little bit. We can't completely rule it out, but the tornado threat is a little lower than what we would sometimes see if we were situated in that northeast dirty side quadrant of a tropical system. I'm going to bring you back over just to what it looks like right now as I start answering, and I'll continue to answer some of these questions that you guys have. So what can you do right now to kind of prepare for this? And I touched on this for a second at the beginning of the live stream, and what impacts we normally face here in the Wiregrass when it comes to tropical systems. We talked about the risk for tree damage, freshwater flooding when it comes to tropical systems, and I'm not saying with this system, but sometimes, yes, a tornado threat. Those are what we typically deal with here in the Wiregrass, whereas along the Gulf Coast, they deal with the storm surge. And so for us, those are the impacts we feel. So that's something you take into consideration. You start planning for power outages more so, and tree damage more so than the storm surge concern. So a question about what would happen if the system stalls and stays near northern half of Florida for a number of days. A good question for sure. And it would, number 1, mean a really heavy threat for significant rainfall. And I'm going to pull up a map right now to show you what that would look like. So I'm pulling a map, and it's going to take me just a second to adjust it. But so I'm going to take this off and replace it with kind of more of a generic places list. But in a situation where the system was to stall, and we had those 2 high pressure systems, located to the east over the Atlantic, another one over the plains, and it just really slowed the steering current, it would mean torrential amounts of rain across Florida. I mean, look at that. Again, I caution everybody who's watching, this is a worst case scenario type situation. 20% chance is what I'm giving it right now of occurring. But if this was to happen, it would mean catastrophic amounts of rainfall from Panama City to Tallahassee. We're talking likely in the range of 18 to 25 inches of rain over the course of a week. So obviously, really significant impacts there. Here in the Wiregrass, it would mean about 8 to 12 inches of rainfall, which would certainly lead to freshwater flooding. So in a case where we had the system stall out, and the steering current has been a concern with this system from the start, it would lead to heavy amounts of rainfall. You can see in the 18 range from Biloxi to Mobile to Destin in the 8 to 9 inch range, and then back to the the 18 to 24 inch range of rainfall near the Big Bend and touching into the Panhandle a little bit as well. So that's, again, one model run's idea. What we saw, this is late last night's model run. Today, again, this is what it would look like if we saw this system get picked up by that trough of low pressure system, that 80% chance of that occurring. It still would mean we pick up on 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch of rainfall across the Wiregrass and maybe some briefly gusty winds along with high clouds. Whereas, and again, we're talking the Carolinas now, Wilmington to Charleston to Savannah, the low country of Georgia would likely pick up that 18 to 24 inch of rainfall. And I think no matter how this plays out, no matter which way this goes, left, right, north, south, whatever, somebody along the southeast coast, whether that be the Big Bend of Florida, the Panhandle, the central part of Florida, is going to deal with significant and possibly severe amounts of rainfall. Where that sets up is going to depend on the steering current of the storm and where it goes. But unfortunately, this does look like it's going to be a storm that dumps torrential amount of rainfall somewhere across the southeast. We sometimes say that it doesn't need a name to be a big deal, and that's very true. A tropical depression can dump these kinds of amounts of rain. So can a tropical storm. A hurricane can too, as a matter of fact. But we don't really necessarily need a name for a storm to be a big deal. So I have a question about, is this going to be a tropical storm or a hurricane by the time it hits our area? So the simple answer to that is we don't know yet. There is a possibility that this completely misses our area and we don't see tropical storm force winds or hurricane force winds at all. And we get partly cloudy skies and a passing afternoon shower or a thunderstorm on Monday. And in fact, my forecast is leaning that way. 80% chance of that occurring. There is a 20% chance that the storm could stall out because of a steering current that would not allow it to move very fast, move into the Wiregrass, and bring the possibility of tropical storm force winds. More than likely, in that worst case scenario, it would be a tropical storm by the time it gets here, not a hurricane. But obviously, tropical storm force winds can do quite a bit of damage as well, along with the flooding that comes with it. So hopefully that answers that question. I know I'm not trying to dodge the question or give you kind of a generic blank answer, but the reality is we just don't know yet. As soon as this system gets more organized, the more organized it becomes, the better likelihood that we're going to have a good idea of where this is going to go. So, once we can get a more defined low pressure system, and that's probably going to happen tomorrow evening at some point, we'll have a much better idea of where it's going to go. This is the not fun part. This is the part where we wait and we don't know and we see, and sometimes my guess is as good as your guess. But regardless, we are watching it. When is it expected to hit the U.S.? So the earliest time that we could expect a landfall anywhere would be Sunday evening. And that could stretch anywhere from Sarasota all the way west to Mobile. That's how big the area of concern is, but it would be Sunday into Sunday night, more so likely Monday, that if there was to be a landfalling storm in the U.S., that's when it would be. So hopefully that answers that question a little bit more. I want to go over things with everybody just one more time, and while I'm doing that, if you have a question, feel free to type it in, and I'll get to it after I kind of wrap things up. I want to go over everything just one more time. We're going to do this in the next 5 minutes. Go over everything one more time, and then I'll take any final questions, and then we're preparing to go on air for a newscast at 9 o'clock, and then we'll have everything that you need to know about the system, more information, new model runs coming in for WDHN News at 10. So I'll start over here, just kind of go through this maybe a little quicker this time. pardon me, right now we are tracking Invest 97L. It is a tropical wave that is centered over Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It's moving west towards Cuba. It's not organized at the moment, but we're starting to see a counterclockwise spin, which indicates a more defined low pressure system will eventually come with time. The National Hurricane Center is saying that there is a 30% chance of development over the next 2 days, and over the next several days, a 70% chance of development in that red shaded area. So anywhere from Key West all the way up to Panama City, Florida, is a zone where a tropical depression or tropical storm could form. The more time over the Gulf, the worse it is for this system. If it spends a brief period of time over the Gulf of Mexico, impacts will be minimal in the sense that we're not going to have a really strong system. If it spends several days in the Gulf of Mexico, we could be talking about a stronger system because of the fact that waters there are in the upper 80s. Tonight, most of our computer models have this system making a hard right-hand turn before it arrives in the Big Bend of Florida, which is great news for us. The further east this system goes, the better it is for us. So there are two likely scenarios that may happen here. The first one is more likely than the other. 80% chance this occurs. You can see the system moving over Cuba and Hispaniola and the mountainous terrain. It has trouble developing, and then by Saturday it briefly moves over the Gulf of Mexico. The low pressure system comes and really quickly picks it up, moves it over Florida, and then it moves away from us, and we see virtually no impacts from it. The other chance, it's 20% chance of happening, but it is a possibility, and we got to talk about it, is that this system similarly has struggles forming over the high terrain of Cuba and Hispaniola. Then two high pressure systems will kind of create a steering current that'll very slowly pull the system north, in which case it makes landfall near Panama City as a tropical storm or a very weak hurricane. In that case, it would mean high amounts of rain for the Wiregrass, strong winds, and possible power outages. So that is, again, a worst case scenario, 20% chance of that happening. Waters are warm all across the Gulf. In that worst case scenario, heavy rain and strong gusts would be possible, some flooding risk and a power outage, 20% chance of that worst case scenario taking place. So I don't see any more questions. I'm wrapping things up kind of quickly here because we're preparing and doing some mic checks for our next newscast at 9 o'clock. But we're going to be back on WDHN News at 10. We're going to have new model runs and a full update as to what's happening with our Invest tropical wave and any more information that I have to pass along with you. Thanks for tuning in so much. We appreciate it, and we'll see you back here soon. By the way, meteorologist Jordan Ambrose will be here tomorrow morning. He's going to do an update for you around 11 a.m. or so. We'll see you here shortly. Have a good night.